What is going on, y'all? This is the Caveman. I'm here with Football with Oz Austin for episode 68 of Against the Blitz. It is trade deadline season, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the most fun times of the year because, at least for me, I love predicting shit. I love putting my brain to – it's like a puzzle almost. Like a lot of people like to sit down and actually do puzzles. I'm not one of those people. I hate puzzles. But this is like a theoretical puzzle. Like which of the pieces on certain teams could fit in other spots, and it's fun to really get creative. So I had a good time really putting this episode together. We're doing trade candidates, by the way. I don't even know if I said that.
Yeah, I mean, so we've done the draft and we've done free agency, but like that's a pool of guys that we know for a fact will exist, and we just pick out teams. But what we're trying to do is look at teams, look at their rosters, see which position groups might look a little crowded, look at which rosters might benefit from moving on from their current guys to gain some capital for next season, and then trying to predict which teams would likely give up capital and trade for these guys. So that was definitely like the tricky, puzzling part, but that was the fun part.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, the amount of names that get thrown out there at this time of year is insane, and it's fun to decipher like which ones are actually realistic. Like I've been saying AJ Brown to the Bills for weeks as a joke, but then like of course as a Bills fan I've been seriously wanting it to happen, but you know he goes for 150 yards and they're like okay he's happy now, so
he's stuck.
Yeah, but we do want to start by touching on the biggest names that have been very much rumored over the past few weeks, and even before the season started, you can go that far. And these aren't guys that we necessarily have on our list definitively, but we kind of feel like we have to talk about them because they're so popular. So the biggest one is Trey Hendrickson, of course. The rumor mill had him at the top of the list back in, April, May, June, etc. Because of the holdout, he ends up finding a contract that really fucked him over. And now we're about halfway through the season now, and he's hurt. Like, it's not even like he's putting up insane numbers, helping the Bengals. Joe Burrow's hurt. Their chances to really make a run this year are in the toilet, and he's hurt. So it just feels like the perfect storm for him to be moved. So I'll start by asking, do you think Trey Hendrickson actually gets dealt?
I don't think so. Because I think based off of his age, which he'll be turning 31 by the time next year rolls around. He is currently hurt. He hasn't really produced like crazy outside of like one game so far. And like you said, like this was his contract year. So whatever team trades for him is going to have to really hope they can get a new deal done, or else this is just, a half season rental for a 30-year-old defensive end that is hurt and kind of on the way out. So I think if there's a team desperate enough that knows that they're in a really good spot and they are in win now mode and they need a pass rusher bad, I think they could do it. But I think people will kind of lowball the Bengals, and they are not the kind of team that will take a lowball offer. They are very cheap that way. So I do definitely doubt that he is moved on from. And I think that he is a Bengal until his contract is over.
I agree, and I think that's really what it comes down to is the lowballing stuff. Like, no team is going to take him on with open arms for high draft capital, and this is why it was so aggravating that they didn't deal him before the season, because they probably could have gotten some pretty decent return, but now they're at a point where there's just too many factors going against them in terms of what they can get. And he probably is more valuable to them than he would be, than the capital he would field. Because at the end of the day, they did just win a game and go to 3-4. I think that was also the other nail in the coffin for me is like, oh my God, now there's like a glimmer of hope that December will be relevant and Hendrickson can help us. Like if they lost that game with Flacco after making that trade by 30, and they're like, okay, well, you know what? Whatever we get is going to help. We're tanking. It's official. Fine. But now it's like they're getting giddy over in the front office. Like, ooh, maybe this will actually happen. Maybe Flacco will actually work. So they're going to, just hold on to Hendrickson and hope that it all just works out in their favor. But I do agree that he unfortunately ends up staying in Cincinnati.
Yeah, if they lost that Steelers game and they lost their next few games, I think it was very possible that happened. I still do think it's possible that some Bengals get traded, but I think someone like Trey Hendrickson, who they probably feel like is deserving of a lot of capital, and if they're only being offered like a fourth, I do strongly doubt they'd move on from him.
Mhm.
If we lose, a couple games here down the stretch and it's really looking like we're not gonna make it, I wouldn't mind trading him for crumbs at that point, like get anything, because we know for a fact he's not coming back. So I definitely wouldn't mind trading him really for anything. I would take a fourth at this point, especially if we lose, like 2 out of our 3 next games. I would definitely take a fourth, but at this point, I don't even know if that's coming, and I think the Bengals still value him higher than that. So do not think that's going to happen.
Agreed. Another name that is very much popular at this time of year is Jets running back Breece Hall. Once again, I'll start. Do you think he gets dealt?
I think he would have if Braylon Allen was healthy, but I do believe he's out till at least like week 13 is kind of what people were saying. That's like his expected week. So no, I don't think they're gonna just run Isaiah Davis and like Kenny Nwangwu or whatever. Like I don't even know who they have over there, but yeah, I strongly doubt they trade him, but they should, because he is a running back in a contract year, and there are a lot of running back injuries on good teams, like the Chiefs or the Chargers. Like those are like the 2 most talked about teams for him. I think they would offer something. And Breece Hall does not really seem like the kind of running back that is going to want to return to New York next season for a new contract. So if I were them, 0-7, I would try and salvage anything I can, a 5th round pick, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they're going to do that either. I think they're already in job saving mode, just trying to get their first win.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like this is a front office. This is a group of coaches that is, I mean, based on Woody Johnson's comments, makes me think not necessarily in hot water, but I guess I really can't take anything he says seriously, for one, and for two, like you said, if they are officially in hot water, then they need whatever talent they can to try and dig themselves out of this hole and make the season semi-respectable. And I think the point you made to begin with was Braylon Allen's injury really probably fucked this up, because I think Braylon was probably on his way to inching himself to about a 45 to 50% snap share at this point in the season, and then he goes down. So it really threw a wrench in things. I think they probably had plans to trade Breece after 4 weeks, and they realized they were 0-4. But another guy that I think is much more rumored than he has an actual trade candidate by this point.
Yeah, but he is heavily deserving, even more than Trey.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Jets, I don't even know if I would care if I was there next year. I would, if I'm Aaron Glenn, assume I am, hope I am, and just push for getting whatever capital I could to try and make my second year somewhat easier. But yeah. That leaves us with the third guy that fits this category, Jakobi Meyers, another huge name, probably the biggest. He is the biggest receiver name, I think, at the deadline, or at least the most likely one, I guess, if you will. Mm-hmm. He, to me, I think he ends up staying in Vegas too. I think this is another team that isn't going to be as much in a fire sale state as people are suggesting. We talked prior to the show, and any Max Crosby trade potential was shot down already. Jakobi Meyers spoke to the media, and he said he would like to get traded, but it is what it is. I feel like somebody like that would make you think he definitely is going to get dealt, but at the same time, it feels like another situation where they're just not going to take pennies. Like, he's still a talented receiver that they need. Like, they still need talent in that room. This isn't an overcrowded receiver group where Jakobi Meyers doesn't fit in. Like, if they want any chance of being a team that ends up, or being a front office that stays together after a season, I think he's somebody they also need. So I have Jakobi staying home.
He's the first one that I will say I do think is dealt, because it makes so much sense. And they are less of a team that I think is going to be like desperately attached to Jakobi Meyers to help them win games, because he hasn't even really been a part of their game script lately. Like he's barely getting any targets. He's getting less looks than like Trey Tucker, and they are obsessed with getting Dante Thornton the ball. They're trying to run the crap out of the ball, and they're kind of phasing Jakobi out of the games. And I think there are so many teams that would give up an arm and a leg to get a good quality, reliable receiver that still probably has 2-3 good years left. I do believe he is a free agent in 2026. So if this is his last season on his contract, I strongly doubt he resigns with Vegas after saying he wants to be traded. So this will be the first one that I do think he does get traded.
Where to?
I put the Bills.
Ooh,
not officially, but that's one that I like.
Okay.
Because I think they have their eyes on some guys. You know, people talk about Chris Olave a lot, but I think that Jakobi would be a little cheaper. And he's not quite as young. It might even just be a one-year thing, but we've talked tirelessly about the Bills just need a reliable guy in any way. And he's just that. He's not expensive, but he just gets the job done. And I think that he would be a really good fit for them.
Oh, yeah, I would love that. I mean, I know people in the mafia are like shying away from that idea because we have too many slot options, or you know, where would he go? It's like we just need someone that can catch the fucking football. If
he would be a good football
player. Yes, like if he's a good football player, he can make this receiver room. Like that's it. I don't care where Curtis Samuel goes. I really don't care where Shakir goes. All due respect. Like if Jakobi Meyers is getting in my room, like he can go where he's gonna thrive. So
the whole premise of like needing a diverse receiver room is so wrong.
Yeah.
Like the Seahawks have 3 slot guys that are all out there at the same time. Like slot guys in the NFL are not just limited to the slot. Like they don't just run drag routes. I don't know where this is coming from. Like Jakobi Meyers could absolutely win downfield. We've seen Shakir be able to, you know, open that bag up a little bit. Curtis Samuel is not drawing me away from trading for Jakobi Meyers. And they have guys like Keon Coleman and Josh Palmer, who are like their other starters. So I don't know where that comes from at all. I would rather have him than just do nothing.
Yeah, right. I would agree.
Like just accept your fate. Like you've lost games because of your receiver room. Bring in a guy that had 1,000 yards last year and has been a really reliable receiver for the last like 5 years.
Yeah, well, one can only hope. So we'll get into the group of guys that we both have. These are lists that we did not consult each other about. So I guess we'll just kind of go bang, bang, bang down the list, and we'll chime in if we have an alike mind. So
yeah, but just to ask, do you believe these will happen, or are these just like ideas? Are these like brainstorming, or are these predictions?
The ones that I wrote down, I will call official predictions. And I have a few, honestly. I'll call them official predictions.
I had a couple. Mine are a little bit more wishful than actual predictions. Some of these owners and GMs are pretty annoying. So I can't quite predict it, but these are some things I really would like to see on my end.
Okay. Yeah, I think I tried to be definitive. Like there was if I went about it like this could happen, I would be sitting here not being able to make a decision.
Yeah.
So I tried to be as definitive as I could. I'll start with a popular name that I think we might both have on our list, and that's Jermaine Johnson of the New York Jets. That has been very, very heavily talked about recently. Jordan Schultz put out a tweet that I'm going to reference a few times in this episode, both about the Jets and the Dolphins, about how there's expected to be big pieces moved, similar to when the Lions traded TJ Hawkinson, like that type of thing. And I think some people interpret that for the Jets as being Breece Hall. We already talked about why that might not be the case, but I think the next biggest name that fits the bill is Jermaine Johnson. And I have him going to the 49ers. This is the Robert Saleh match back, going back home, or I guess Saleh bringing his boy back, whatever you want to call it. They need edge help. This is a team that I'm sure everyone is talking about needing some sort of edge help because they just are so decimated. They just lost Bryce Huff, who was really the only other guy that was getting pressure for this defensive front after the Bosa injury. So Jermaine could be a good spark to that room.
Yeah, I actually initially had him on here, but then I deleted it because of a tweet that he put out. It was
Really?
it was like the Wolf of Wall Street, like, I'm not fucking leaving. He put that gif in his on his Twitter feed, so I was like,
shit.
yeah, he might not be leaving after all. But definitely, like, any defensive end that has shown some kind of promise, I feel really good about putting them to the 49ers because Bryce Huff is injured. We've talked about that enough, but like the depth behind him is awful. It's like Michael Williams, who has 1 sack on the season, and like Yatur Gross Matos or whatever. Like it's bad. It is really, really bad. So to get even someone like Jermaine Johnson, who's in his own right, no disrespect, kind of been like a disappointment for a first round pick, that's still better than what they're currently rolling with. So I would definitely do that.
Well, if Jermaine doesn't get dealt, then I will pivot because that's pretty damning. That's a pretty damning piece of evidence.
I saw that like an hour and a half ago.
Literally, he only posted it like 2 hours ago. Like,
yeah, so I was like, yeah,
fuck. Well,
I'm gonna take him off my list, but I did put a bigger named Jet on my list that is also not named Breece Hall, and I put Quinnen Williams. It's a guy that, like, obviously you don't like to move on from a defensive tackle that's really good, but I think they might just be in capital gaining mode, especially if Jordan Schultz is putting out stuff like that, saying like a TJ Hawkinson level player might be dealt. You might think Will McDonald. I know he gets talked about a lot, but Quinnen Williams could draw a 2nd round pick or even higher than that. So I would like my own Cincinnati Bengals to go for Quinnen Williams and I would send a 1st round pick for him easily. And I think we can offer them the capital they want. If they're looking just to stack 1st round picks on 1st round picks, get Peter Woods with it. Works for both parties.
I like that. Yeah. Quinnen Williams, it's just tough. Like whenever I go into these types of like whenever I plan for something like this, usually offensive linemen and interior defensive linemen are like, they're just never on the list because the depth at these positions is already so slim for everybody. It's so hard to find good players at the positions, let alone top shelf guys. But if there's a team that is going to be moving on from anything, it's the Jets. So it's going to be an unpredictable next couple of weeks with that team. It's either like they sell everything or they do nothing. And even if Quinnen is the only player that gets dealt by the Jets, that's a lot. Like, even though one player, that is a big franchise-altering move because he was their centerpiece, their cornerstone for years now. So that would be substantial. And the Bengals, of all teams, who most people would think are looking to get capital, I would trade a 1st round pick for Quinnen anytime.
Yes, like I'm only mocking them. Peter Woods, the defensive tackle, right now. If Peter Woods can be as good as Quinnen Williams, that would be a win. So in my mind, I'm like, Quinnen Williams has a couple years on his contract still left, and it is pricey. So if the Jets were looking to do an actual rebuild, move off of that expensive contract from a defensive tackle, get a little bit younger, get a little bit more athletic, and just gain as many 1st round picks as you possibly can.
I like it. Well, that will bring me to I'll go over to the division foes in Miami because there are names on names here that I think get moved. I think they make more moves from a quantity standpoint than the Jets do, actually. So my first Dolphin that gets dealt is Jaelen Phillips. I have him going to the Bears. Chicago needs the edge rusher help. I think they were kind of, kicking tires on guys in the offseason. This is a team with a lot of cap space, and he's coming up on, he's in his contract year right now. So he's going to be looking for a paycheck. And I think this is a piece that could be, I won't say put them over the hump kind of way, but they've won, 4 games in a row now? Mm-hmm. Like, if they're able to get substantial pressure from a defensive front standpoint, we could be talking about the Bears, like, leveling up into being a true playoff team, where right now I think it's on the fence. So I think Phillips is a Chicago Bear.
I like that a lot. I mean, I feel like I've been mocking them edge rushers for like 5 years in a row because they just they've never really been able to get a consistent pressure. Like Montez Sweat getting like 8 sacks was a game changer for them 2 years ago, and he's been really, really quiet ever since then. And they don't really have a guy that's doing that right now. So I like that a lot. But we're still waiting on Austin Booker. We're not done yet. We're not done waiting.
I
He'll
know,
come back
right?
from injury.
I forgot he got hurt. That
Yeah,
sucked. That sucked.
it did suck because he went nuclear in preseason. He went nuts and he looked great.
He did.
Then he got hurt. But Jaelen Phillips is a similar archetype of player to him. So I do like that. I also had Phillips. I put him as a Cowboy for the same exact reasons. Like, offense is killing it. They're actually winning games. Like, they're like a half game behind the Bears because they had that tie with the Packers. But yeah, they're 3-3-1. They've looked impressive, but they just have not been able to get pass rush. Like, their two leading pressure guys are both defensive tackles.
Yeah.
They really desperately need an edge rusher. And Jaelen Phillips, I think, can at least do that.
Yeah, definitely. And it feels like they're a team that, you know, we always look at the different types of defenses that give pressure. We have like the Buccaneers who get pressure from all sorts of guys. And then we have, let's say, I guess the Bengals for lack of a better team right now that I can think of with Trey Hendrickson. For years, that's where the pressures come from, is from Trey. I feel like the Bears more so fit the mold of a defense that needs that one guy instead of being that pack of wolves. So Phillips could be that. I mean, there have been flashes, while healthy at least, of him being that level of player. It's just trying to keep him on the field is the hardest part. But
yeah,
I think he gets dealt.
I think so too. And he's been the one guy on top of the three that we mentioned earlier. I think that he has been one of the most consistent names I have seen on lists thus far. And even Miami fans want him dealt. But if I'm any of these other teams that, you know, need a spark, I think that he can bring a spark.
Definitely. Who would be next on your list?
I heard this one floating around today, and I thought it was interesting. Garrett Wilson, in the same breath as the Jordan Schultz one, going to the Cleveland Browns. Going back home, he's a Ohio State guy. The Browns have shown, of all teams, they are very willing to throw anything at a player that they like, and he clearly is not vibing with whatever is happening with the Jets. And if we've learned one thing in history, a la Stephon Diggs, a la anybody, move on from a receiver when they're done with you, or else things will get bad. So I think it's time for them to move on from Garrett Wilson, send him elsewhere before he turns into that like diva-esque receiver, and get a ton of capital for him.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, is definitely disgruntled. I guess the part that bothers me is I just don't strike him as like to be that Diggs type of presence where he's like, fuck this, fuck you people. I don't want to be here. This is pathetic. Like I think he is just too humble and too reserved to really be that voice. Like after the halftime debacle a couple of weeks ago, Garrett Wilson was asked about it after the game. And the way he answered the question is what kind of gives me this vibe. He kind of was like, yeah, I just was kind of confused what was going on. And I was just, talking to Aaron about what the plan was because I just really didn't know. Like I feel like if he was like an AJ Brown or if he was, a Stephon Diggs, he wouldn't out anybody. He wouldn't make a crazy claim, but he would say something that Twitter would be trying to find, the hidden meaning behind. But he just didn't. He really just kind of shrugged it off, and when he could have made a huge deal out of it. But I wish it was the other way around.
But the Jets can break any man, and I can see it on his face. I think it's happening. Like, he is a great guy. Like, at least from what I can tell, like he is a humble guy. He keeps to himself, and he has expressed that he likes to be in New York. But that was kind of when they had hope. And right now they have Fields on a 2-year contract with Tyrod Taylor as the backup. Things are not looking up for them, and I wouldn't blame him if he just kind of quietly is like under the radar. Hey, like, you guys can get a first-round pick for me at least. The Browns will give that shit up in a heartbeat. They have 2 first-round picks, and the Jets need more of them. Mm-hmm. If I'm the Jets, I'm trading everybody, and I'm just collecting like 5 first-round picks, and I'm ruling this draft.
If I had to choose a Garrett Wilson trade destination, the list feels very long.
Yeah, like 32 teams.
Literally. Like, who wouldn't want Garrett Wilson? Oh, man. I'd say the Giants. I think
Yeah.
with the way that things are going with Dart, even though the collapse occurred last week, Dable probably is trending toward surviving. And with that said, Malik Neighbors goes down. They need something to help them survive. And I think Dable's acting like he's a man that got abandoned on an island with absolutely no resources. He's starving. Like, he is willing to cannibalize to survive. Like, he will do anything it takes. I could see him storming into Shane's office and being like, we gotta do fucking something, like freaking out.
Yeah.
And, not only does that end up replacing Neighbors for the year, but if he makes it, like, how doesn't Garrett Wilson, Malik Neighbors, Cam Scattaboo, how doesn't that work in a prime Dable offense? So that would be my choice.
I like that, especially like you said, replacing Neighbors, but also pairing him with Neighbors next season. And Malik Neighbors doesn't have to come back and try and fight through an injury and like come back too early to be the wide receiver one. They would already have one there, and they would just kind of be co-ones. I think that would be sick.
It would be. That would be wild.
I mean, like, realistically, the Buffalo Bills make the most sense, but since they're interdivision, I don't think they would ever pull that trigger. But stylistically, in needs wise, they make the most sense to me.
If only. I unfortunately think they're in the market for a much lesser room shuffler. So I guess I'll segue this into my Bills prediction. They are in the market for somebody that won't come in and demand targets. And I don't mean attitude-wise, but if you make a trade for a Chris Olave or a Garrett Wilson, it's like, how do you not feed them the football?
Yeah.
And they're just not – I don't think Joe Brady is going to change his ways. And they have very clear visions for everybody that they have here. I just don't see them making a move for somebody that also forces the fan base into yelling at them any more than they already have. Like, the second that a Garrett Wilson comes along and he has 2 catches in a game that we barely win or lose, Brandon Beane and the whole, like, everyone's going to hear about it. So I think they're going to stick to what they have because it's worked before, and Brandon Beane has, he has kind of proof to his pudding, if you will. But they have to do something, on the other hand. And the Saints receivers have been in conversations a ton. I don't think it's Olave. I don't think it's Rashid Shaheed.
Oh, no.
I unfortunately think the Bills end up trading for Brandin Cooks. They need someone to stretch the field. They need someone that's not going to come in and demand the football. They just kind of need some semblance of a threat. And he fits the role of what they're missing. And he can be used, what's the word I want to use? Like, occasionally or situationally is what I'm looking for. And I think, unfortunately, Cooks kind of fits that description. And even like, I remember when they made that move for Emmanuel Sanders, I don't think this would even be close to that level of impact, but I think that's kind of the veteran type of player they'd want.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be fruitful, especially if they give up like a 7th round pick for him. I can't imagine it would be much more than that,
right?
At all, especially with their investment they put into Devon Vele, a 4th round pick for him. And he has like 13 yards on the season. But yeah, I'd imagine they're going to want to start getting some of that capital back, and like a 32-year-old receiver definitely would be like the first guy that I move off from. Absolutely. So I think that would be like a really good realistic trade. Like, it's not fun when you're going through all the receivers that might be available.
Right.
Even on the Saints, like, even if we pass Olave, Shaheed would be so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you've seen what Derek Carr can do with him, like how good that deep ball was. Imagine Josh Allen, who can throw it like 20 yards farther than Derek Carr can. Like, that would be so much fun. But if you go the realistic route, I think Brandin Cooks, on the likely scale, is a lot more likely to actually come to fruition. But man, that would be fun to have Shaheed.
It would. Like, it would be so exciting. But I think Brandon Beane we've seen like a pattern of moves. It went, the Diggs move really worked out. They swung for the fences and it was huge. Then they go and kind of followed up with the Miller trade, and for circumstances that are completely out of everyone's control, it doesn't work. Then the next year they need a receiver. They go and trade for Amari Cooper 2 years later. And that really doesn't work. So I think Bean, unfortunately, is also somebody that will not – he's trying to learn from his mistakes, I guess is what I'm saying, which will make him gun shy. We've talked about that a number of times. So this is a low-risk, high-reward move. It fits that, like, money ball mindset of this really could pan out for us long-term and it costs us nothing. Like, sure. Like, how many moves the Bills make and we're like, yeah, like we see the vision, but it's not exciting. Like this is so Bills. This is such a Bills move.
It is. But God, I feel like in my head I've been shooting for the stars for them. I've been getting Olave and Jakobi Meyers, even Shaheed, like because that's what they need. They need a 1 or even a good 2, and right now they have like 3s, and it's really upsetting. Like Dalton Kincaid's your top dog, and when he goes down, it's even worse. So I get it, but that just stinks to like actually predict.
Mm-hmm. It does. It was next on your list.
This is my favorite one. Jackson Powers-Johnson, the center/guard for the Raiders. I like him to become a Raven.
Wow. I
think they don't care about him anymore. They're benching him and putting him at guard, like a bunch of weird things. And Daniel Falele is the worst human being to ever step foot on a Baltimore Ravens football field. And he's costing them stuff. So put in Jackson Powers-Johnson, who is just like a road runner, great run blocker. I really like him there, especially next to like Linderbaum. I think they would just be such an athletic, fun, powerful little run blocking duo. Makes a lot of sense to me, and I don't think he'd be that expensive.
He shouldn't be, no, because like you said, he's been like their toy. Like, what can we figure out with him over here inside when he should just be the full-time starter? Like, it really shouldn't be that hard. The Raiders are such a shit show inside, and they make it seem harder than it has to be. And I think this is something that I've noticed, like the guys in the Discord talk about. We're seeing like a lot more Alex Kappa than we should be. It just is such a bizarre season situation, and this is another one of those examples. And the Ravens, I would agree, but they just love Falele, bro. Like they love him. They love him. So they'll just never bench him because they want him.
Even then, next year, Linderbaum's a free agent, and they have not really expressed that much interest in getting him a deal early. Mm-hmm. They're waiting last minute, and they might even let him touch free agency, which is terrifying for them. So if that's the case, at least get your backup center now for a pretty cheap deal, who I think can come in and be pretty decent replacement for him. But whatever floats their boat, I guess.
I guess that's right.
Just take Falele and whoever the hell you want. Like, just lose games because of it. It's fine.
They're an in-house team, in my opinion. Like almost like the Bills in a way. Like if they have someone in-house, they're going to try and make them work first. And the fact that we really haven't even seen Ben Cleveland try and come in and take that job yet kind of makes me think there's just no way they're looking outside either.
Well, they hate Ben Cleveland.
They do.
I don't even know why he's still there. They should trade him away. like let him be a Texan or something. Like let him go try and win a job somewhere else.
Did you see that off topic? Did you see that TikTok of that fan in they played in Seattle this past week, right? Seahawks and Texans, or did they play in Houston?
Yeah. I think they played. God damn, I don't even know where they played, but I think I do. I think it was Seattle, and I think I do know what you're talking about.
Yes, there was.
It's going to be your fault.
Like fucking pregame, this asshole with a camera is just. Who was it? Was it Howard?
I thought it was like Tim Settle. I thought that was like a D tackle. I don't even know who that was. I think they just saw a big guy.
Yes, it was like what I thought was an offensive lineman, but I don't even know. I watched the video for like 3 seconds, and he's just scrolling in and out on his face. He's like, "This is going to be your fault. You're going to be the reason why we take this L. It's going to be your fault." I think they were in Seattle because he was saying, "You're taking this L," or like, "You're going to be the reason why you guys take this L." And then Stroud goes out there and gets fucking mauled, which was the worst part. That was bad. Oh man, Poor Texans.
Poor guy.
Poor guys, right?
Not really, Nick Caserio. I hate you. This is my daily Nick Caserio hate comment.
Well, that was a fun favorite. It was a unique one. One of my favorites from my list is one that I really don't think we're seeing enough about, and that's the Patriots needing a receiver. I think the rise of Keyshawn Boutte is fun, but not a long-term thing. And Diggs is 31. He's helping May in the intermediate game. He's even, gotten opportunities downfield, but they're really squeezing all of the juice out of these guys that they could. And I think they need more help. I have them going and swinging for DJ Moore. DJ Moore, talk about hated. Like, his fall of target share is crazy. Like, he really was brought into Chicago to be Justin Fields' guy. Obviously, Fields is gone. That was the old regime. So he just doesn't feel like he fits right now. It's clearly a Romo Dunze offense. Olamide Zaccheaus is seeing like similar target share. Luther Burden is now coming along nicely. And I think eventually they're going to be like, man, we got to find targets for him. But they can't because he's behind, Odunze and Moore. So I think the more they've seen Burden these last few weeks, they'll feel like, okay, maybe he is actually ready and they can ship off more comfortably. And that's not even to mention the fact that they have two solid receiving tight ends on top of it. Like, they have so much pass catching talent that they could afford dealing him. And I think the Patriots could take on, because of how much money they have, they could take on a lot of that money to maybe alleviate the trade compensation that they would have to give up.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, he's been an under talked about receiver when it comes to being traded, and I don't really know why, because like you said, he is a very good talent. Like, anytime that the offense focuses on getting him the ball, it works well. He's very well rounded. Like, there aren't a lot of things you look at DJ Moore and say like he can't do that. He can play outside. He can play in the slot. And he can be your Z or X or your whatever. And he's a guy that probably secretly in his brain wants out. And it's probably not like a super hateful out. It's just like a, man, I feel like I could be doing something somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And the Bears and Patriots have no conflict. They are on opposite sides of the ball. There is no reason why they couldn't try and make a trade together. 100%. And it makes a lot of sense for what the Patriots need.
Absolutely. Like, Boutte has been like their big body downfield presence, but when Moore's on his game, like, he is one of the best downfield receivers. Like, he's thought of to be like a Debo kind of rack guy, but really I think he's an excellent downfield option. He's great ball tracking. He can box out. He knows how to go and attack it. So I like Moore a lot. And Diggs is, like I said, Diggs is not a long-term option, and they're a lot better than they probably thought they were going to be. So they're like, holy shit, we can win the AFC East right now. We could be a good, contender in this desolate conference. Like, DJ Moore might be what they need to get over the hump. So,
agreed.
I just find it weird. I find it weird that running back is something I keep seeing. Have you seen that a lot?
For them?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, they're already not using their second-round pick. Please, for the love of God, do not trade for one, because Ramondre will fumble and he will average 2 yards a carry all season. They do not care. They will victory lap the one time he has a good game in like the last 6 weeks. And they're like, yeah, see, we know what we're doing, bud. Like Drake May is just dragging them to wins, and they're like, we know what we're doing. Okay. Yeah. Like, we have the right running back out there, and he's just losing them the Steelers game single-handedly, like legitimately by himself. And he's like, before this game, I don't think he ran for like more than 25 yards in like the month of October. Like, he was really struggling. And they have a very talented RB2 that they don't use, and they love Antonio Gibson too for some reason. And then last week, freaking Terrell Jennings got like 8 carries, and they were like, you're awesome, dude. Love you. So yeah, I strongly doubt they're gonna make any kind of running back move.
Any way to keep Henderson off the field, they're gonna find it.
Yeah, they hate young people.
They really do.
They also haven't played Kyle Williams. They haven't played him either.
No,
like at all. Despite any of their like receiver woes as well, they're just like very anti-young person apparently.
Yeah. Who's next on your list?
Do we want to get weird, or do we want to get realistic?
I think
let's get weird.
Okay, let's get weird. I'm down.
the New Orleans Saints trade Taysom Hill to the Denver Broncos.
I didn't see that part, but yeah, shit.
A Sean Payton reunion.
That is an absurd connection to draw, but yes, that does make sense. Like they wanted Ingram to be this like Joker bit. Oh, I heard all offseason. One of the catchphrases of the fantasy community was Evan Ingram, big slot. They needed the Joker. I heard it all offseason.
The Joker. Where did they even come from?
I don't know, but dude, he has been a fucking joker. He's been a laughing stock. He dropped like 2 footballs last week. He's not been anything for them whatsoever. I don't know where Taysom Hill really slots into it, but Sean Payton will find a way. And
Taysom Hill doesn't have a slot. They make slots for him, and
yes.
and Sean Payton made that a point throughout his entire New Orleans career, is just to have him do a little bit of everything. Mm-hmm. And he's not really messing with all these young cats. Like, he doesn't like RJ Harvey that much. They're not playing Pat Bryant that much. They're still playing Adam Troutman way too much. Like, at this point, why not? Like, their offense has been stale. Like, they scored 33 points and they were all in the same quarter. They went 3 quarters straight without scoring against the Giants. Like, clearly something needs to change here. And I feel like even though Taysom Hill is definitely out of his prime by a lot, I wouldn't be shocked if Sean Payton was like, bring my guy in. Yeah. I know how to get a spark. The guy that I had for like 8 years here in New Orleans.
Well, that would be fun. Yeah, talk about weird. I think it's a lot more realistic than people would consider, though. I think he is 34. He's not been maximized in Kellen Moore's offense the way we've seen him before. And that could be because he's old. That could be because Kellen Moore's like, what the fuck do I do with a 34-year-old football player? He's not a position. He's a football player. Like, what do I do with that? So
you're out of your depth, Kel.
Yes, you are.
Send it back to Sean.
I like it. I will do my best to get weird, but this is most of mine are, I guess, more realistic than weird, but this kind of fits the weird bill. I have the Arizona Cardinals making a trade for a running back. I think they love Bam Knight, but I think they also don't like Michael Carter. But they still need something more, and I don't see them swinging for a Breece Hall or anything like that, but they need some talent back there. And I have them going for Tony Pollard. Pollard feels like a guy at this stage that, like, what's he doing in Tennessee? They're not going to run the ball successfully anyway. Tajay Spears is, he's come back healthy. He's getting, a little bit more and more work as time goes on. Like, what are you doing with a 28-year-old running back that's not doing anything for your team? Nothing. So the Cardinals, they need that between the tackles kind of guy. He's really become that in his time post Dallas. And I feel he just feels like a Cardinal to me for some reason. So I think that's where he ends up.
I like that a lot. I mean, I really would like to see Tajay Spears in a more feature role. Mm-hmm. They love Julius Chestnut back there. They love him. They really do. So I would not be shocked if they were like, yeah, Tony, like we know what you are at this point. You're a 1,000-yard guy if we run you straight into the ground, but so is any running back in the world. So we'll move on from you. I don't know how bad Trey Benson's out for, but James Conner's out for the full season. So like either way, Trey Benson has not proven to be a full season feature back at all. I would not be shocked if they put a very small amount of capital towards Tony Pollard, who has proved he is that at the bare minimum.
Definitely. Right. You got any more funky ones?
Not funky, but I do have 3 guys of the same position, all for the same team.
Okay.
I went 3 straight middle linebackers for the 49ers because
let me guess who they are.
Okay.
Logan Wilson.
Yeah, he's the popular one.
Okay. Hold on, let me look at the list because I was thinking about linebackers a lot.
That was wishful thinking on my end, really.
You think so? You don't think it's likely? I think
it is. I just want him gone. Like, not that I dislike the guy, but like they've benched him essentially for 2 rookies.
Mm-hmm. Demario Davis.
Yep.
Okay, who's the third one? Oh man, I don't know if I know the third one. Oh,
you got one?
Is it Bobby?
No, it is Jordan Brooks.
Okay.
From the Dolphins.
I like that.
Either way, it's 3 pretty high floor veteran middle linebackers on a team that just lost Fred Warner. And a lot of 49ers fans don't want to make trades. They're saying like our season is over. They're like, we have no chance. Yeah. You're 5-2 in a wide open NFC. Like, you're saying you have no chance because you lost your star players. Just trade for them. The 49ers cannot draft, especially in the middle rounds. They're awful at it. Like, I would definitely rather try out like Jordan Brooks or something than see what Luke Gifford got for me for the rest of the season. Like, I'd want to do something and not go down in vain. I'd rather say that I tried and give up a 6th-round pick for Logan Wilson and just see what I can do.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Yeah, I think you're right, though. There are a lot of I think 49ers fans just, no fan base is ever happy, but they are one that just is never happy. Like, they hate Kyle Shanahan. I feel like they've wanted him fired multiple times now. I feel like they just are right, like you said, ready to just kind of give up on the season because they're all hurt. It's like, yeah, sure, your injury luck is bad, but you could still win games and be decent.
Yeah, their offense is coming back. They're gonna have Pearsall and Ayuk and George Kittle. Like, all of these guys are coming back at the same time. Like, their offense has a chance to be really, really good with the way that CMC looked last week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the reason your defense is questionable right now is because you're missing Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. So just make a little diet trades for him. Get even if you get diet versions of Fred Warner and Nick Bosa, that puts a Band-Aid on it, at least. It doesn't make you better, but it's better than having Luke Gifford and Yetur Gross-Matos out there for.
How do you even pronounce that consistently?
I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it.
Okay. That's crazy.
But it's just insane that that's what they're rolling with. If they're okay with rolling that out, letting Bryce Huff sit out for the next 3 weeks with a hammy. We all know hammy injuries last so much longer than they're initially announced to be every single time. And Bryce Huff was the only edge rusher on this defense that brought anything outside of Nick Bosa. So I think if they don't, they're just giving up, which is not really the 49ers that I know. They're a pretty confident team that generally thinks that they always have a shot to win, and they do. So I think they should trade for one of those 3 linebackers. I had a million edge rushers too. Kayvon Thibodeau was another big one that I thought was kind of interesting for them, but yeah, they need to do something, anything.
When it came to linebackers, I thought of a few places: Dallas, 49ers, and Panthers. Those are 3 teams. I'm like, one of those 3 teams is going to end up trading for one of them. And it was another one of those, I just can't make a fucking definitive decision, so I'm just not going to write anything down.
That's fair.
I do think that one of this, I'll have my broad prediction. I think one of Logan Wilson, Bobby Wagner, or Demario Davis get traded to either the Panthers, the 49ers, or the Cowboys.
That's fair.
So that will be
I think Logan is the most likely.
Yeah.
For a late round pick, but Bobby, it's hard because, man, they love him. PFF loves him. Everybody loves Bobby Wagner.
They do.
But it would make sense for someone like Carolina. If they think they got a shot to really do something this year, I'd make a trade.
3 in a row. I'm
They're
shaking
elite.
in my boots. They're going to beat
You're
the
wrong.
Bills, and I'm going to crash the fuck out.
I did for the way longer than I thought when I was doing my pick'ems. I took a beat on that game. I was like, everything intelligent makes you want to pick the Bills, but then I was just like, man, there's some bad juju going around.
Terrible.
I'm not trying to get. Yeah, I'm like, the Panthers are the hottest team in football, and the Bills are not at all. Yeah. So, which makes zero sense, but whatever.
God, I'm gonna throw up.
Did you get any quarterbacks on your list at all?
I did not. No quarterbacks made it. I almost, found something with the Giants situation, but I don't know. I feel like they locked Jameis Winston in a basement, and they're just never gonna bring him out to see the light of day. But they also don't want to trade him because I don't know, they just don't. And I guess maybe Russell, but my lacking faith in, how do I want to put this? My theory that they have no faith in Jameis Winston to be the backup because we haven't even seen him like dress makes me think that they don't want to move on from Russell because they don't trust what's his face, Jameis, to be the backup. So I just was like, I think they're happy with what they have. Kind of like a Kirk Cousins situation. They're like, fine, you know what? Rot, pal. You're going to rot here. Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Kirk's one that I thought about a little bit. And I think the Minnesota Vikings are an interesting one.
Oh, I thought about it.
Especially if they get to a point, and we talked about this last week, where they realize Carson Wentz is too many turnovers, but they do like the idea of having this veteran in the room. And if they trot McCarthy back out there and he looks the exact same and he just can't execute anything, and they're like, oh my God, we can't win with this guy. And we can't win with Wentz. I would not be shocked if they turned to Kirk Cousins. Because he had a lot of turnovers last season, but I don't think that was him being dumb. That was just him with a shredded Achilles, and he couldn't get literally anything behind his throws. So I do think that if like another year removed from an injury, Kirk Cousins could come in and possibly do something for that team. And I know he would be welcomed by the fans.
I would love to see it. I think that would be a move that I think I just it's a double-edged sword, because on one hand it's like they probably know deep down that that would help them more than hurt from a football perspective. But the other side of the coin is you trade for Kirk Cousins, you are telling the world that you don't believe in JJ McCarthy. You're telling the world you're basically giving up on him. And if you trade for him not to start, I guess, then it the fan base is going to be like, play Kirk, play Kirk, play Kirk every single time McCarthy makes a mistake. So it's almost one of those like media circuses that would start if you make a move like that. And I just don't strike that Kevin O'Connell and those guys to really be in the market of media circuses. So
no,
it would be a lot of noise.
I think they've already announced how they feel about JJ McCarthy so far. I think having him as the emergency quarterback right now, like clearly, like, yeah, he had an injury, whatever, but not really. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think this injury is that bad. I think they're kind of just using this as a little bit of a crutch to, like, if he's healthy enough to be your emergency quarterback, he's healthy enough to play. Like, they would be sending his ass out there in the second quarter to get demolished if he has a hurt ankle or if he doesn't. So I think that they were just so frustrated. They're like, we have a sophisticated passing system. We are Kevin O'Connell. Like, we know what we're doing. And this kid can't execute it unless it's like a fourth quarter scramble drill. That's all he was able to do. So I think that might have been really, really frustrating on a coach's perspective. Wentz can execute those, but he's also just turning the ball over way too much. So they're probably in some kind of mindset of like, could we get a cheap option in here? Maybe. Like, are the Falcons willing to let go of him for a price? I would at least make that call. And if you could work out a decent price, I would probably make it happen.
They better make sure their phones aren't tapped. But yes, I would definitely, like I was saying, I do think it would be best for them. I just don't think they have the balls to
I don't think anyone. Yeah. I don't think anyone has the balls to make any of these good trades. That's why I didn't say I think they're all soft. And the only people traded are going to be guys like Brandin Cooks, like you talked about. Like,
it's happening. I've actually talked myself into thinking he's already a Bill. I might go make a jersey. Like, I already know this is going to happen.
Like, I'm going to get like the Instagram note, like JPA football, like notifies me like Brandin Cooks in a Bills costume, and I'm just be like, okay,
yep,
whatever. We're used to this.
Brandin Cooks is at the Buffalo airport. That's what we're seeing.
Like, I feel like I've already seen him in a Bills uniform before. I feel like that's what this is already like. I feel like I can see it. Like, it's already happened before.
Well, I really think that the Emmanuel Sanders thing is a parallel, because they've talked about that in the past, like how much he was a benefit to the room for Josh Allen, having that veteran player. Like, they really valued that. And the motherfucker at 34 years old had 620 yards. Like, I don't think anyone thought he was going to have 620 yards and draw 72 targets in just 14 games. So I think they see upside and value in things like that. So yeah, I really am that confident. That might be my most confident prediction now the more I think about it.
It just sucks. Like the Bills are like the team where it's like we have these lofty expectations. We haven't quite started how we want, and there's a clear reason why we haven't started how we want. And still, like everyone's expecting Brandin Cooks to be that solution. That's just sad. Like I just Googled Bills trade destinations. And the first name that pops up was Cody Barton. Like this is just ridiculous. Like we do not need a shitty linebacker. We don't need a bad linebacker. Like, and then I look and I'm like Jalen Waddle. That's not happening. They're not trading an interdivision guy.
Whoever started that rumor should be shot. Whoever started the Jalen Waddle trade rumor to begin with, let alone the one to the Bills, should be fucking hung because that's the last player they're moving. The Dolphins. No way. It would make
perfect sense from the Bills' perspective. Yeah, sure, whatever. Like whatever you want for a lightning fast 1,000-yard receiver who has looked amazing since Tyreek went down. Like sure, whatever. But interdivision, the only decent young player on that entire Miami team, I would not do that.
I love the Jalen Waddle to Buffalo for a first and third round pick. Who says no? Or not even a first, but like a second and fourth round pick. Who says no? The fucking Dolphins say no, dumbass. Like, what do you mean who says no? I love it. I love fucking Twitter.
Poor guy.
I have a couple more predictive names I want to run through. Not the most fun, but you know, they're obscure. This one actually doesn't fit that description. My last big name. I have Bradley Chubb, speaking of the Dolphins, going to the Colts. They're a team that has been rumored to be looking for a big swing in at the trade deadline. And while Trey Hendrickson back with Lou Anarumo makes a lot of sense, it's pricey. They don't have a lot of money. They need to go for a higher upside, lower risk, lower, capital it would take to acquire him type of player. So the Dolphins, like I was saying, I think they end up being the team that deals more away than the Jets do, and they kind of dismember their entire defensive front.
I do like that a lot. Like he's on the older side. He's probably close to 30, at least 30.
He's 28 or 29.
Okay. Yeah, that's perfect trade time. He has a couple years left. I think that he could bring some kind of element of juice to the Colts. Because even though they've had success, like their defense still isn't amazing. Like, I think they're like 22nd in yards allowed per game, which is not amazing. But the offense has kind of made them look a little bit better than they have been. So definitely bolstering that edge room, I think, is top priority because Latu has looked incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from him, Kwity Paye is not really moving me a whole lot, unfortunately. So, are you a Kwity Paye believer?
I was at one point, yes.
Yeah. Kwity Paye, he might get 2 sacks per year sometimes. I don't know if he has any this year, but yeah, poor Kwity Paye. There's 1,000 of those like mid-range Arnold Ebiketie type edge rushers that I've really been hearing a lot about. Him specifically, like Arden Key, I've heard of in every list.
Yep.
I don't know who is trading for Arden Key this season, but like, I guess some people will.
I did see a lot of Arden Key. I saw Ebiketie. We said we talked about Woolen a bit. I saw him in there.
Yeah, Woolen's hard because 3 weeks ago he was like the worst player in the world, but he's really been a lot better.
Yes,
the last couple of weeks, which is big because it wasn't even like he was like horrific. He was just putting himself in horrible situations. Like he would have good coverage the whole rep and then lose the ball. Like it wasn't like he was just getting torched. It wasn't like he's just completely lost his talent. He just like didn't really quite get it yet.
Yeah.
But he was close. And now he's looked a lot better on a phenomenal defense that doesn't have a lot of crazy corner depth. It's like Josh Jobe, who started off hot and has cooled down. So Tariq Woolen, I would not move on from him if I was Seattle personally.
Yeah, I don't think they end up doing it. But I do think another corner gets dealt. and the Eagles are going to be in the market for one. I was sitting here like trying my hardest to figure out if they were going to go after an edge rusher or a corner. I just do not foresee Howie Roseman not making a move at this specific deadline because they're coming off of a Super Bowl and the wheels are shaking. It kind of feels like things are a little uneasy. There is a clear need for either an edge or a corner. So I think they end up going after one of the many that have been rumored. L'Jarius Sneed, I saw a lot. But I ended up going with Cam Taylor-Britt, who has recently been phased out of the Bengals cornerback room. We talked about DJ Turner last episode, how well he's played. I don't know if we're going to be seeing much CTB unless someone gets hurt in Cincinnati, in the future. So why not just deal him away, let him get a new change of scenery? He would probably be the best corner that the Eagles have, which is pretty crazy. I think that fit is cheap.
I don't think he's just like completely cooked. Like he had a really good first 2 seasons and he's just really fallen off since. And I don't know what the problem is. I don't know if it's injury or whatever, but last year and this year, he is a completely different corner. He's really fallen off. It seems like it's almost more of a mental issue where he just doesn't really know what he's seeing. He's in coverage for too long because they can't get pressure. Philly, at the very least, I trust Vic Fangio to put him in the right spots to find success. I trust them to kick up a little bit more pressure that they can get in Cincinnati, make his reps a little bit shorter. I like that a lot, and I actually had the exact same thing.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that was the last one I had.
Shit. Well, yeah, I was thinking there were other names that I thought they might go after. There are more corners, realistically speaking, that I think the Eagles would go for than there are edge rushers, especially after the Brandon Graham thing. That shit really just kind of threw out the edge possibilities for me.
He's so old. Which
is annoying because they made a huge deal about his retirement and then the motherfucker's back like a year later.
I love that guy, man.
He's awesome.
He's one of my favorite football players ever, which is really weird, but I love Brandon Graham. But he's 37.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Holy shit. He's 37?
37 years of age.
God, why'd they let him back in the door?
Dude, and he hasn't been playing football this whole time. This is going to be bad. Unless he's just like fresh because his body doesn't hurt anymore.
Yeah.
But I really don't think this is going to come super, super great.
No. I was thinking, well, yeah, like before the Brandon Graham thing, like maybe even Matt Judon from the Dolphins would fit there, but they're not going to go after another old high upside type of that threw that out. So Rasul Douglas was another name I thought the Eagles could go after. I think Douglas, Cam Taylor-Britt. I saw Denzel Ward. I don't think he's getting fucking moved. No, the fuck is right. No
Denzel
way.
Ward's a top 10 corner in the league.
Well, I saw the list, like top 5 corners the Eagles would trade for. I think it went L'Jarius Sneed, Tariq Woolen, Cam Taylor-Britt. There was a 4th one. I can't remember who. I think it was Rasul actually. And then 5th was Denzel Ward. I'm like, out of all of the names like that are on this list, and then you just throw Denzel Ward here.
It's a bunch of like former decent kind of slowed down corners that would be cheap. Sure. Those all make sense. All 4 of those. And then it's like a borderline top 5 corner on a defense that is finally starting to really turn it around and become good again. Yeah. I don't think Denzel Ward ever plays in a different uniform, to be so honest. Like, he's an Ohio guy through and through, played at Ohio State, played for the Browns his whole career. He's been fantastic for them every year. I think his career ends sooner than later just via concussions. The guy's had like 8 of them. But, yeah, I strongly doubt he goes elsewhere.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, speed up my last few because I do have a couple more. They're not exciting. They're just predictive. I have the Giants actually making a trade for a receiver. It's not Garrett Wilson, but it is another guy that's getting phased out of his situation, and it's Christian Kirk. He's hurt with a hamstring, so he really shouldn't cost much. The Texans are finally getting forced into using Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. And it's kind of working. It looked like it was kind of working, as bad as that Seahawks game was. Did you catch the end of that Seahawks game? Seahawks Texans game?
No, I kind of just gave up on it. to be so honest.
The Seahawks just kept giving them the ball, and they got time and time again to try and score chance after chance, and they just couldn't do it. But that's beside the point. Jalen Noel specifically he became CJ Stroud's favorite target. So I'm thinking that there's something there, and that kind of, pushes Kirk's role, a little bit out into the woods. So the Giants are another team that, you got Wandale, you got this, you got that. Where does he go? They just need a football player. They need help out there to catch the football.
Yeah, Christian Kirk's kind of just been doing cardio for them for a couple minutes. Yeah, Jalen Noel looked incredible. Jaden Higgins is still nowhere to be found. Yeah. Poor guy. Yeah, imagine if they had like an offensive tackle.
Yeah, right. Then the last, this might be, I have two more. The second to last, I have the Chargers trading for Jerome Ford. Woo. Jerome Ford is, losing snaps to the young guys. He made his tenure. He made the most of his tenure in Cleveland. Like he bounced on injury after injury and became the guy. And
he was awesome.
He was. And now Los Angeles is in a situation where they lost Hampton and now Haskins is hurt. Hampton should be coming back, but at least Ford could be somebody that you can turn to and feel confident in, but also just a third down rotational type 100%. Of option. And that's what they need.
Love that.
And then my last one, this one I've been holding on to because I'm excited to say it because I fucking hate this team and I want to see it happen.
Wait, let me guess.
Okay.
Are you trading away from the team you hate, or are you giving this player to the team you hate?
I'm giving this player to the team I hate.
Oh, Panthers.
No, but you're close.
Raiders.
I won't say I hate them. Like I haven't vocalized my hatred for them that much, but like they're a team they're the team that always comes up in conversation by accident.
The Steelers.
Yes.
Are we giving them a receiver?
Yes.
Oh, it's a bad receiver.
Just think it will click instantly the second you hear me say it, but I think you can get it. If you looked at a list real quick, you would know.
I don't know if I have this guy written down.
He is a former friend of a specific player that plays for the Steelers.
Oh, it's gonna be Alan Lazard to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah.
Yes. I really think the Steelers are in the market for a receiver. Do I think they make a big move? No. Do I think Aaron Rodgers has influence? Yes. It actually just came out that the Steelers were like, Rodgers, please come back for another year. So they're going to want to appease him. If Rodgers has any say in it, we know how much he loves to have his friends around. And Alan Lazard is on the Jets, who are going to be selling. He's talk about doing cardio. I don't know if he has a catch this year that I can at least remember. And
I forgot it was even there, to be honest.
Yeah, right. And they could use a boundary presence. So yeah.
Hell yeah. That might be the most realistic thing on this list, to be so honest. Like that's like of all these fun players like Jackson Powers Johnson, Garrett Wilson, Quinnen Williams, like I tried reaching for the stars of getting excited about a possible big move, but realistically, I think you hit it. Brandin Cooks and Alan Lazard type players are the kind of guys that do get traded more often than not. So we have our expectations high. I do realistically think we might see one or two of the big name guys we talked about. Might be Hendrickson, might be Jakobi Meyers. I think we'll see two of those. But everybody else that's traded, it is like Josh Nijman type opportunity. It is not going to be. It is not going to be perfect. But
oh man,
we're getting excited either way.
Yes, we are.
I love Josh Nijman.
Do we? Who's we? Who's we? Relax. The last thing I want to say is it's not going to happen, but I don't know how the fuck the Seahawks don't trade Ken Walker. Like they have to, please, for the sake of everyone else's well-being, just trade Ken Walker. And he'll go to the Chiefs. I'll regret it. I'll regret saying this, and he's going to end up in Kansas City. But
yeah, they already have a great running back. What is the point of having this dud that loses yards on every carry? We like Sharp. He gets the CTE carries, and then George Holani is back there, who's the best running back of either of them, and he doesn't get touches. So Let Ken Walker run 10 carries for 25 somewhere else. Okay, we have Big Daddy Sharp and we have George Holani, and that whoever that guy in the preseason was that like went nuts.
I think they cut him, or did they get him back?
They got rid of Damian Martinez somehow, but
yeah, that's what I was talking about. There was someone else?
Dude, this guy went nuts.
Who? How many running backs did they have?
He went to a school you've never even heard of.
Yeah.
Not Anthony Tyus. He went to Ohio. Where is the Seahawks running back? Oh, hold on. I'm gonna find this guy. Yeah, Jacardia Wright.
Who?
He went nuts.
Was it the third preseason game? It had to be.
He went nuts in all preseason games.
No way.
He played for Missouri State, and he was awesome. Let me see. Yeah, it's not showing me any of his preseason stats right now. But he was good. He was really good.
That's funny. They just had success with everybody except for Ken Walker, I guess.
Yeah, and apparently we're just gonna kick Damian Martinez to the curb.
Yeah,
I don't really weird how they draft. I don't know why they drafted him, to be so honest.
I don't either.
Yeah, this guy had 7 yards per carry for 147 yards and a touchdown in preseason.
What the?
Yeah.
Fuck.
He had a 61-yard run. He was awesome.
Cool. Well,
Jacardia Wright, Missouri State. Learn the name.
That's your kind of guy right there.
Yeah, I didn't even know who he was, to be so honest. I don't know how he slipped out of my radar.
Well, Ken Walker to the Chiefs. I will regret saying that. But I think that's about as many players as we probably could have touched on. I think we said a lot of names. And it was fun kind of just freelancing this because hopefully there's fireworks. Like there's nothing worse than such a boring trade deadline. Like we do all this prep, we talk all this shit, and then nothing happens. Like that's the worst. Then you look at the NBA and it's like players are getting shipped off left and right, and Shams is like getting 3 million impressions in 2 minutes because the internet is exploding at like 2 a.m., which is the best part.
Yeah.
So I hope we get some fun over in the NFL world, because the NBA, as much as I despise the way that league operates, I think that's one of the most fun parts about it.
It is.
But that will wrap up episode 68. If you guys have any other...
I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Yeah, the 60s have so many fun numbers. But if you guys enjoyed, let us know down in the comments who we left off the list, who you agree with, who you disagree with. And be sure you join our Discord, link in the description as well. And we will see you in episode 69.